Smell of cigarettes and cheap beer, dirty carpet and a dry air, 4 large speakers and a broken drum set. This is what you get when you're on a budget. Hey, room 15 is where it all began, down at room 15. Room 15, I never want to go back to room 15. Oh no! Happens at room 15 is where it all began, down at room 15. Room 15, I never want to go back to room 15.
Yeah, look at you guys. I mean, Raquel and the Wildflowers. What a band, guys. What a band. So excited to have you guys here. Raquel de Souza, the singer, Luis Cruz, guitar, backing vocals, cat lines, fiddle virtuoso, and Tommy Carlucci, great drummer. Everybody's great.
Thank you.
Absolutely,
Steve.
absolutely.
And Steve,
of course. And Steve. Sorry, Steve. I
Don't forget
apologize.
Steve.
He's quiet. He's very quiet.
Yeah, he's a very quiet dude. So yeah.
Quiet, but half of what I say are mostly jokes. But,
Love it. Steve, let me start with you actually, since you're the quiet guy. Like, you have all those cool guitars in the back of your compound there. Could I give you any crappy guitar and you would make it sound good?
So I am not much of a Lutheran. But so like as far as like fixing it up, no. But if I were to play it, you know, I could probably make it sound good with some effects and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'd be like,
I love it.
let's
By the way,
do-
Raquel, Room 15, I have to just throw that out there really quickly. What a phenomenal song. Love it.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
One of our favorites to play,
I bet.
and the crowds
Yeah.
too.
And by the way, since you're talking about the crowd and you guys playing, the chemistry you have with the Wildflowers, Raquel, is something that you rarely see. I love it. I mean, it reminds you of like Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, or just ensembles that connect at like another frequency. You can't like fake this, right, Raquel?
No, you can't. It's definitely, and it's actually part of the audition process, because I think it's super important to not only connect, you know, as like people, but like in the music, especially because when you're on stage and people are watching, like they're gonna feel if it's like real or not, and it's not something you can make up.
So how does an audition work, Raquel, with you? Because obviously the musicianship is there, but how do you test the
Mhm.
vibes?
There's a huge process. So there's
Is Steven like the bias police? Is he like the last line of defense?
Steven. Well, I would have so you would come in prepared in the sense of like you'll learn like I think like it was like 2 covers, and it's like 2 different covers, then like an original that's already recorded and released, and then the last one I would send like a vocal scratch of like a song to be developed, with like I'm like come into the room with like ideas, so we see how we work together in a room, but also be open to changes. And then the last one is like jamming with the band. And so that's how the audition works. It's also, you know, to see how we work in a room together, how you learn, like how you learn at home, how how you work together with the other players. And yeah, and then we
Love
found a really great group.
I love it. No, I do want to get into each of the group because everyone is just fascinating. But Raquel, first of all, tell me, like, how did the Wildflowers project begin? Like, what was like the genesis of it?
Originally, I made the transition into pursuing my original music in 2017. I recorded and released an original. It won a Reverb Nation contest, and it was distributed for airplay, and it charted. Amazing. Run Towards the Highway. And since then, like I always wanted to, like, you know, find like an amazing, incredible band. So eventually like Kat and Luis joined, and we had some other players at that time too. And as we kept going, we were like, this is definitely like a band feel. And we rebranded the name. I may be butchering this story a little bit. So Kat and Luis, you want to help me out? Eventually rebranded the name, and I was, at the time we were like really thinking about like, what is our music about? What are we about? And ultimately, like our music collectively is like so different from one of the other. All of us individually comes from different musical backgrounds. Also, Kat is all the way from Texas. We're from New York, and we have some Connecticut people. And so like Wildflowers seem to like really like sound really nice. And so it's like, when you see wildflowers grow in the wild together, it makes something really beautiful and organic. So it's like really symbolic, the name too. And then we were going on our first major tour, and Tommy came along. Hey, Tommy.
Whoa.
And then we got Steven, who came along too. And since then, it's been amazing. It's such a great team. We always have each other's back. When one's feeling down, we pick the other one up. When we have goals to hit, we're always motivating each other.
Yeah.
Everybody puts in their part. So we're very lucky. I feel very lucky and very blessed. This is my first band, so I feel very proud and really like grateful to have the people we have.
Yeah, you guys have an amazing thing going. It's just like the perfect mix, like the chemistry elements, like a little bit of this, just enough. Let me start with Kat. You mentioned Kat. Kat is from Texas. She plays the violin. Kat, you're so talented. But let me ask about this, Kat, because you went to the Mark Wood Rock Orchestra camp for 10 consecutive years. This was a camp created by the Trans-Siberian Orchestra founder and Grammy Award-winning guy, Mark Wood. Tell us a little bit about this camp, because that's fascinating to us. Like to those of us that are not in that world, like what's like a schedule in this camp? Like what's a day like? Like what's the routine? That's so fascinating.
I feel like I'm so incredibly lucky because it's really every musician's dream. When you're brought up as a classical player, like I started playing violin when I was 8 years old, and I was very classically based. I was playing in classical orchestral groups, and Mark Wood comes along with this incredible 7-string electric violin, having played for amazing groups like the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. He had toured with Celine Dion. I mean, incredible rock star of a guy. And I was 12 years old the first time he was like, look, he'd come for one of his Electrifier Strings events, and he said, look, I'm starting this camp. You have to be there. You have to be there. It's going to be this incredible event with all these different musicians, with all these different genres. And I mean, a day at camp is just the most amazing thing. I think I wake up at like 5:30 in the morning. We get breakfast, we have morning meeting, and then it's just a day of classes and rehearsals and jam sessions. And we've had Lady Gaga's violinist there, Judy Kang. We've had Tracy Silverman, who, if you don't know him, he was a former member of the Turtle Island String Quartet and is just the most mind-blowing player. So we have all these people who have toured, who have done networking events, who have been studio musicians and mix and mastering and done all of these things for years and years and years. And they come to us, and it's like School of Rock, and they give us all of their wisdom about all these aspects of the industry. And it's my best friends in the world are there. And I obviously I miss them so much because I couldn't go this year, but it's the most amazing experience. And it gave me a huge leg up in becoming the player that I am, because otherwise I feel like I wouldn't have the knowledge about the industry that I do.
Absolutely. I mean, the just the proximity to all those experiences must be priceless. I love that. Great story, Kat. Absolutely. Luis, let me pivot to you, because I mean, you're so good with your instrument. Like you're like the perfect sidekick. Your original stuff is amazing, but also your covers, like your covers of like Casey Musgraves, U2, Chuck Berry, like so damn good. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I actually encourage people to check you out on the socials at Luis the Guitarist, because like it's like
thank you.
no, you have just like magic everywhere. It's really good stuff. Wanted to ask you about the chemistry with Raquel on stage, because just checking out some of the stuff, it's like you almost know what she's gonna do before she does it. Right? Like that, totally, right?
It's really funny. I said this story before. So how I originally met Raquel was, let's go a little bit before. I've been in plenty. This is Raquel's first band. I've been in so many different bands, and I think the thing that often happens is that usually you'll have a lot of players that you meet that say they want, to quote unquote make it, whatever their definition of that is. And then for whatever reason, the band falls apart. Very, very common. It's just a thing that you go through when you're joining bands and learning how to play and stuff like that.
It's like dating, but musically.
Yeah, literally, yes.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And their bands are extremely married, and sometimes you go through messy divorces and things like that. And I've been through all of that. So having said that and having done that, I kind of know what to look for. I know when people are serious. I know when people are, they have it in them where it's like, oh, this person has sort of that same drive as, like, I would say I have. Because I know no one in the industry, even though I grew up in New York City, no one in my family plays an instrument. No one was ever in a band, especially the kind of music that I was into it's not necessarily like what you would consider a modern day New York City.
You have to be fully committed to it, right, Luis? Like I was talking to like Swedish pop stuff group the other day, Smith and Tell, and they were saying like you have to be like really like fully committed to it to even have a chance.
Yeah, it has to be what you think about 24/7, and that's really what it is. So when I met Raquel, I actually saw an ad on Craigslist, and that's literally how I met her. And there was something just about the way she worded everything. I was kind of like, there's something there. I've told her this before. I'm like, there's something different about this girl. There's something different about this woman. I feel like she's very, 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 very serious, and I was immediately intrigued. I was like, oh, I got to see what this is about. What's this project about? And she invited me over, and we jammed, and there was just an instant chemistry musically. Just there, like, wow, okay, there's something here. I know there's something here. There's not a full band. We're gonna do country, even though we're from New York. We know no one in the industry, but there's something there. And when you meet someone like that musically, you recognize it right away, and it's a pulling, I guess, feature. You're excited to go to rehearsals. I've been in bands where it's like, oh, here we go, another rehearsal. It's like pulling teeth, excuse me. But this was just different, and I think that just shows in all of us, and I think between her and I, since we've been working together since the start of this project, I think maybe it shows a little bit more, but I feel the same way with everyone else in the band. It's just, there's some chemistry there where it's like, there's something there, and I love it.
That's a great story. I want to get to Tommy in a second, but Raquel, let me just pivot back to you super quickly. Tell me about that Craigslist that like what year was this? What section did you put it? Was Craigslist creepy back there or not yet? Like what was going on?
It was the classifieds under, I think it was like community musician.
Cool.
I'm sure if I go through my email, I could probably find the listing, because I'm pretty sure that's what I did. And it was funny because anytime someone emailed me, and it was so weird because it was the same thing. When someone emailed me, I was like, I don't have a really good feeling about how, and it's like, it's just through an email. I was like, I don't really have I have a good feeling about this person. I have a good feeling about this person. But yeah, it's so funny. Anytime we tell people, Kat was a little bit more classy. We found her on Facebook.
Yeah,
good for you.
A little bit more modern and high class.
Nice. Good
and and Tommy, through a mutual friend, recommended us.
Okay, that's high end. Mutual friend is high end. Now we're talking like Barney.
Yeah, the guy who the guy who previously
Careful, you'll get to his head.
Yeah. Because the guy who was previously drumming with us took off with another project. Really proud of them. So then he recommended Tommy. Tommy's amazing. We love you, Tommy. And then Steven, funny enough, see, I get these feelings. We did like a co-headlining show, and I saw him playing bass, and he has such a big personality when he plays bass on the stage.
Yeah.
And I remember turning to Luis. Maybe Luis was ignoring me, but I remember like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like one day he's going to be in our band.
You're
and
like, let's poach him. So you're a poacher.
You're
an all-star poacher.
At the end of the day, that's Raquel is the poacher. It should be Raquel the poacher.
Yeah.
He was like, you look like you want to play in a different band. I'm like,
yeah. So because at the time we're like, we need a bass player for tour. Do you know anybody, Steven? I know you play bass. And he's like, hold on, wait a second. I'm available. And I'm like,
That would
oh,
be. Let
okay.
me check my schedule. Let me check my schedule. I'm
I love it.
available.
I was like,
For the
come
rest
on
of
in
the
for an audition, Steven. And then he did amazing.
I think you did amazing. Oh man, that's great. I totally believe in all that vibe and energy thing. So absolutely, I totally get it. Tommy, you picked up the drums at like so young, age 5, if I'm not mistaken. Unbelievable. What are some of your earliest memories that you have? Just like banging those drums as a kid. That's awesome.
Oh my God. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So for me, it's something about my uncle started me on it. And, he bought me a snare drum when I was a kid, and he was just like, just try it and see what happens. And of course, like typical parents, I don't want this noise in the house. And then he convinced my parents. He was like, look, if he likes it, we'll keep it going. Like, because obviously as a kid, you kind of lose interest and stuff like that. Sports really wasn't my thing. So like I tried baseball, basketball, nothing, but I always loved drums. And then I saw That Thing You Do was a movie with Tom Hanks, and it kind of bases around drummer.
Underrated, really good. Yeah.
It's amazing. And that kind of really sold it for me. And then I remember one Christmas, my cousin and my uncle came in with like a bass drum and a floor tom to really complete the drum kit. And I guess the rest is just history, man. It's just so much fun. And it's weird because going back to That Thing You Do, so last year, obviously with COVID and everything like that, we were supposed to do Ohio State Fair. And the Wonders in the movie, that was the first state fair that they played.
Oh
So
my God, look at that.
Crazy.
Wow,
Like,
that is insane.
And then we're playing here, and it's just like,
That's
and
pretty
I
cool.
got that like like when you really like are unsure, and you're like, okay, like is this the fair or whatever? And it's like I watched the movie again. He's like, we're so excited for the Ohio State Fair. I'm like, oh my God, like that's weird, really weird, but it's a lot of fun.
Interesting. I think there's something special going on with Raquel and the Wildflowers. I'll just put my chips on you guys. You know what I mean? There's just something there. I love
I
it.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean that's a great coincidence there. Steve, let me chat with you for a second because obviously the past year has been for everybody. It's been interesting, but for you especially as a father, right? And how has that been? Enjoying that time with your family? That maybe if you were playing shows on the weekends and festivals, you wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, luckily for my job, I've been working from home for about a year now. Music wise, it's been great, but also very frustrating. Having to be sequestered into our own spot. I'm gonna take a virtual camera because it's making my hat look all weird. So while we all get a chance to be home and be with our family, and that's a great feeling. I got to witness my son growing up, as much as possible. So I love that, that feature. And, the only thing I could say is, while it was really fun for the gigs that we did play, I just wish there was a lot more. It's just, it's bad circumstances all around with what's going on, but we're really hoping for a super positive 2021 and to get back out there and play as much as possible.
Yeah, totally. I totally think we're turning the corner now. Kat, let me ask you this. I mean, like you guys on the band were supposed, you're still technically supposed to play Wisconsin in 2020 in the summer with Dierks Bentley, Kane Brown. I mean, obviously that'll be great if that show gets to happen. How would you describe Kat, Raquel and the Wildflowers live to someone who has not seen you guys perform?
A live Raquel and the Wildflowers experience. It's going to be a balance of, we like to say that we're a classic country with a modern twist. We try to both revisit the like really classic country songs, Wagon Wheel, Chicken Fried, 90s country, Shania Twain, and also keep up with what's going on today, Luke Bryan's current releases, and of course our own stuff. I think that a Raquel and the Wildflowers live experience it's all about the fun. It's all about the positive energy. Yeah. We want to get everybody up and dancing. And the thing that I really love about this band that I don't always see with country bands, and especially with big bands, they don't all have a fiddle, and they don't all even let the instrumentalists that they have a second to have center stage and improvise and do solos and have duels, which Luis and I duel on solos at live shows all the time because we love it and it's fun.
I win every single one of those duels. I win
no, you
every
don't.
single time.
No, you don't.
It's a tie. It's a tie.
It allows me, especially, I joined this band when I was 19. I was a sophomore in college, and I was so incredibly excited because that opportunity just wasn't happening for me on campus. So to get that invite on Facebook was like, this is it. But yeah, I think that you're going to see a lot of really incredible performance from all of us, both as individuals and as a group. And I really appreciate that because, again, for one, I think every band needs a fiddle. I just think it's such a dynamic instrument and it adds so much. But I also think that you just need to hear from everyone on stage. And I'm so appreciative of the fact that we really all just bring our personality, and it brings everyone to their feet, which is something we really, really miss.
Absolutely.
Smell of cigarettes and cheap beer, dirty carpet in the dry air, 4 large speakers and a broken drum set. This is what you get when you're on a budget. Hey, room 15 is where it all began, down in room 15. Room 15, I never want to go back to room 15. Oh no. EDM music bumping from next door. Ceiling mildew falls down on that floor. Main office knocking at on door, shouting 5 minutes till it's time to go. Room 15 is where it all began, down in room 15. Room 15, I never wanna go back to room 15. Oh no. Come on. These are the memories you hold on to. Gotta start somewhere to get out of that room. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens at room 15. It's where it all began, down at room 15. Room 15. I never wanna go back to room 15. I'm thankful that it happened down at room 15. But never wanna go back to room 15. Oh no.
For sure. Raquel, people like Stevie Nicks, Paul McCartney, Don Henley they continuously have performed their solo stuff, but they kind of keep coming back to their bands. It's like their family. Why do you think that the band element is just so, important, even when you have the goods, like, you have the voice, you have the charisma, but like the band element is just takes it to another level?
I would say exactly that. It's just a whole different experience. And just energy in general. Like right now, since we're all at home, we don't get to do much. It's nice to have like our own projects and just to kind of like have that creative freedom to like not limit ourselves. Cause I know everybody works on like their own things too. But then when we come together, it's just like, it's very different and amazing. And I love it. I love this project. I love everybody in it. So I don't know how to explain it. It just feels right. And like what Luis said earlier, like I'm always looking forward to like the next rehearsal, like working together. I grew up playing sports and doing Girl Scouts, so everything was always like team oriented, even though there's always like a leader, and stuff. So yeah.
I love it.
I
I love it, Raquel. I mean, you guys are being so generous with your time. Thank you so much. But Raquel, since I have you here, and you mentioned "Run Towards the Highway," your debut single, 2017, like you said, it charted like top 30, I believe. With Carrie Underwood and Luke Bryant, the whole thing. I think the reason why this song resonated so much, Raquel, and it still does, is that it goes beyond that relationship aspect. I just think it's about cutting anything that is holding you back and just kind of like pushing through. And I think with this pandemic, it's become more relevant to everybody. Would you agree with that? That it's almost like become like bigger than just like a love thing?
Yes.
Yeah, totally. Great. Awesome. Well, listen, guys, you guys have been so generous with your time. Like, I can't tell people enough to, like, check you guys out live and check out your records. I think we're turning the corner on this pandemic, and people should really, like, just check out Raquel and the Wildflowers. If you guys are ever in Nashville, like, we look forward to seeing you guys here, and just thank you guys for your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
One of the most important things
Thank
while
you so
playing
much for
live
having us.
is trying to make each other laugh a little bit. Not so much that we want to mess up, but just like, I made you laugh. I scored a point. So if you guys do see it and you guys see little smirks on our face, you know that one of us.
It's probably Steven starting a dance battle with somebody.
Oh yeah,
my God.
Steve is an amazing. He's an amazing dancer. He really is.
Really?
Yeah, I think in another life he was like Mr.
Competitive
Bojangles.
dancer.
What about you, Luis? You don't shake the moves during your solos there with Kat?
Well, no, you see, I'm so concentrated on
He's the
winning
stoic type.
against Kat. I gotta win.
And it takes
against
all of
Kat.
his concentration to do so.
I mean, obviously, that's what I'm saying. It takes all my concentration to win, because even though her and I are competitors, she's really like really good. So I have to like focus. Like okay, I don't have time to shake my hips.
Absolutely. Well,
I gotta say, Steve's a great air drummer too. That's pretty remarkable.
Oh my God, yeah.
If you give me 2 straws in a song, I will air drum
Done.
the heck out of it.
oh my God. And poor Tommy has to see all this thing from the back.
That's
Poor
it.
guy.
Yeah, that's the
told-
best seat in the house. The best seat in the house is the drummer seat.
It was funny because they had like a guys' night like before the pandemic and stuff, or I don't know, some point. And they were telling me that Steve, like, because Steve works long days, he has a family, and then they went out to let loose, and he was like just dancing and jiving by himself, that people literally started walking up to him to try to compete with him. And then I was like, listen, this needs to happen like once a week. You guys need to start collecting $5, do like a 50-50, and that's like our tour funds right there, is Steven like battling everybody
Opening
at the club.
act. Steve, you can be the opener,
Yeah, he's the opener. It's just
Steve on the robot dance.
It's Steve dancing and playing bass.
Yeah.
And air drums were
Air
straight.
drum. I can do
I've
it.
never
all
seen
together.
that side of him. I've never seen that side of him. It was
I'm
amazing.
very fluid after a few drinks. So
Oh my God, guys, you guys have something really special going on. Care for it. Like, trust me, I do this for a living. You guys, you don't see a family like you guys every day. Care for it, love each other, and thanks for the music, guys.
Thank you so
thank
much,
you.
Jamie.
Thank you
All
for
right.
having us.
All
Stay
right, guys.
safe.
Bye.
everyone. Like,
Bye.